Good afternoon, Margiana Antunes is speaking. I'm the translation specialist for Partners Resource Network. We are a nonprofit agency that operates the Texas statewide network of parent training and information centers, or PTIs. The PTI projects are known as PATH, PEN, and TEAM, and these are funded by the U.S. Department of Education Office of Special Education Programs, OSEP. These provide to families, children, professionals, and self-advocate training, education, information, referral, support, and individual technical assistance in obtaining appropriate services for children and young adults with disabilities in our state. Welcome to our Texas Autism Supplement Facebook series, part 2. Joining me today is Christina Henning, Director of Statewide Services for PRN. She will be helping me with the slide transitions and will provide any technical assistance if needed. This is a pre-recorded session, but we are answering questions live during this presentation. So if you have any question, post them on the comment box and we'll be happy to help. This series have in mind parents of child or children with disability, specifically autism, whether they're foster care or your own children, or you have a grandparent or a niece or aunt or uncles or friend or neighbor, anybody who has autism or pervasive developmental disorders. This series will benefit you because the strategies that we are going to cover during this week can be implemented in the IEP to help those that you love to make progress. And then again, today we're going to talk about strategies 1, 2, and 5. The objectives for our series are to provide an overview of the national autism rates until 2018, to understand what is included in the Texas Autism Supplement, to understand or to have access to these strategies during your annual R, and to provide an overview of the Texas Autism Supplement strategies. All right, so in our previous video, part 1, we arrived to several conclusions, main ideas. The first one is that to have access to this Autism Supplement or to learn more what the rules state in our state for the Autism Supplement, you must visit the section 89.1055 of the Commission Rules concerning special education services, and we're going to take a look at that right now. So you click on the link once that this presentation and materials are posted, and then you can have access to this. So in part E, and then we'll see extended number 1, extended educational programming, which we're talking today. Then number 2, daily schedules reflecting minimal unstructured time. And number 5, we are going to talk about future planning. So we go back. There are more strategies. There are 11 strategies, but today we're only talking about strategies 1, 2, and 5. The next idea that we concluded in our previous video is that the Texas Autism Supplement is a document and it's a process. It is a document because it consists of few pages that are added to the IEP, to your child's IEP, and in those pages, the districts and schools, they show each of those strategies. They briefly describe each strategy, and they have a space for them to either justify the use of that strategy or to document the need for that strategy, or to say that the strategy is not needed at the moment. Like I said, these are 11 strategies, and they became to be 11 strategies after the last modification in 2007, when 4 additional strategies were added to the previous 7 that were created during the 80s. These strategies, all of these strategies must be based on peer review and research based. And these considerations of these strategies by your R committee, which parents are part of, does not imply immediate consideration, immediate implementation. Going over meaning that you have to go and discuss the data and justify or not the use of these strategies. One of the things that we forgot to say in the recap is that until 2018, the CDC, the Center for Disease Control in the United States, the facts and figures indicated that 1 in 59 children, if I'm not mistaken, are determined or are founded to have autism. So what is this important? Well, this is important because these children should be or will be receiving education, special education services in the schools throughout the country. Okay, so strategy 1, extended education program. This strategy overlaps with the requirements in IDEA for students with disabilities, special education and related services, and supplementary aids. And obviously the explanation of the IEP and what the contents of the IEP must have. The extended education program consists of not only the services that can be provided during the school day, meaning at the time the student arrives and at the time the student leaves the school, but also before the school starts and right after school start, or the ESY services, the educational service, extended education school year, which are services that are offered during the holidays or the winter break or the spring break, but most likely these are offered during the summer vacations. These two services combined are what are known or considered during the strategy 1, the extended educational programming, and what is supposed to be addressed with either the extended educational program during the day, meaning before the school day starts or after the school day finish, or during the holidays or vacations, are needs that cannot be otherwise addressed during the school day. And for a parent to have access, or a child to have access, and the parent to make sure that their children have access to this particular strategy, you need to know that review of skills must be addressed, meaning that there should be a review of the progress, review the students' need through assessments or not, or school observations, teacher observations. There are many ways to address the needs, but we always need to go back to data. The decision whether to use strategy 1 or not, or ESY services, will go back to data, because again, each strategy in the Autism Supplement must be justified with data and with the presence of a need that also should be present in your PLAF, the present levels of student performance and functional performance. We can go to the next one. Christina, can we click on the ESY services? I want to show you the video that we have there. This is a video that you can visit later, and I just want to show you how it looks like. This is a video that we did. It's very short. It's about 3 minutes or so, that explains what ESY services are. So again, strategy 1 is extended day, which could be anything that can happen before the school day or after the school day, maybe social skills, maybe phonics or reading training, any of those skills or any other skills that have to do with self-help or communication or behavior. Social skills can be addressed using a strategy 1. Christina, we can move on to slide 2. Thank you very much. Strategy 2, daily schedule. Daily schedule is very close to the extended educational programming, as far as it covers a portion, the entire portion of the day, and what is happening during that day should be the addressing of the needs. Meaning, once your student arrives to school, and once your student, until the time your student leaves the school, their needs should be addressed in one way or the other. Now, daily schedule says that the student schedule for the day, for each day, should reflect minimal unstructured time that facilitate active engagement. What does this mean? It means that unstructured time is a time when the students are in recess, when the students are at lunch, when the students have pet rallies or any other gathering at the gym, and they're not going with, they're not receiving instruction or any other services. They're just participating in other activities in the school. It is important for us parents to know, what is my child doing during that time? Are services needed during that time? Or if my child cannot participate a particular unstructured time that everybody else in the school is participating, then what is my child supposed to do? Usually when you have a child in the PPCD program, meaning, the years before you actually start K through 12, during that time, it's easy to see that each child will have a schedule, maybe attached or glued to, not glued, but just placed on their desk, or maybe a wall or a closet door, that they will show everything they had to do, meaning a breakdown of all the tasks. So you will see a picture that shows that they will recognize that that's arrival time. Then another picture that shows that is unpacking time. Another picture right below that says it's time for maybe fine motor activities, or maybe reading, and so on and so forth. Why is this important? Well, scientific research shows that children in the spectrum, they do much better when they know what's coming up, when they know what's going to happen and when to happen. And it's also important, these daily schedules, to have alternate schedules when our children do not have the teacher that day because the teacher could not attend the day, so we have a substitute teacher. We need to know what's going to happen during that time when we have a different person giving the class or attending to the class, because again, children with autism do not necessarily do well with transitions or unexpected situations. So daily schedule, very important. As long as you move, through elementary and then middle school and high school, it's very difficult to have access to individualized daily schedule. Daily schedules tends to be very general. So if you have the chance, the opportunity to go and reach out because your child is having a behavior issue or a communication issue or any other, it's important to find out what's happening and what time of the day. And the daily schedule should be able to respond, what is my child doing, with whom, why, and what for. Again, the daily schedule depends on the student individual functioning, not on the class, what is the class had to do or what the teacher had to do. It depends on the student needs. We can go back to the next one, Christina. Okay. And then finally, future planning. That's strategy number 5. I have a lot of interest in this particular strategy at the moment. In Texas, this strategy starts at the age of 14. In general, the strategy is according to IDEA. The law starts at the age of 16. So in that regard, we are 2 years ahead in Texas. But future planning can start at any point in life. Think about those kids that are in ECI, the Early Childhood Intervention program, and then they are going to transition at some point into the school system at the age of 3. So after the age of 3, after they reach out at 3 years old. And then after that, you have the transition to the post-secondary education once your student graduates. So the future planning encompasses all this planning about what is my child going to do once my child is no longer in the public education system, but also the years prior. So we have the Transition Services that is planning for what we're going to do in the years, in the secondary years, meaning high school, middle school and high school, that we're preparing, and we're designing what classes are we going to take, which endorsement, if your student is able to take endorsements, which endorsement am I going to take, or my child is going to take, which classes, which vocational training should be necessary, which other public agencies should be able to participate, or we need them to participate, to be involved, because after my child graduates, they're going to need, or they're going to be involved, or they're going to be paying for some services, as well as, to start planning for maybe a career or volunteering. Because once my plan is once my child graduates from high school, my child will be able to attend college or a community college. All that is part of the future planning strategy 5. And maybe this strategy is not important for those who have children in elementary or children in PPCD programs, so maybe children in the ESY program at this point who are who has autism or any pervasive developmental disorder. But this strategy, I do recommend to start thinking from the very beginning. Even if your child is 3 years old or is not 3-year-old, but even younger, but you already have, let's just say, a medical diagnosis of autism, start thinking about where do you want your child to be? What will be the dreams for your child? Yes, there will be plenty of modifications, but once we know exactly where we want our children to be, we can go backwards and say, okay, what do I need to do to arrive to this point? So this is in general what the strategy number 5, future planning, consists of. I'm going to show you now some of the slides that I really like, that if you're like me in the position of going into planning transition, then these are the sites that I will recommend you to review or keep in mind. First is the Texas Legal Framework, and that's that link will take you directly to the Transition Services, and then you see post-secondary education, vocational education, integrated employment, continuing adult education, and many other parts that should be comprised into the Transition Services for the students, and then you start planning in Texas starting at the age of 14. We can go back, Christina. Then the graduation options in Texas for a student with disabilities. If I'm not mistaken, there's about 4 ways for students with disability to graduate, from the top one as everybody else with the distinguished level of achievement, and then you get the foundation high school diploma with endorsement, and you're able to attend a college after that. Or maybe you are on the other end of the options, in which you can go ahead and graduate with your IEP program. So the basics of you finishing up high school will be not necessarily looking at the TEKS or necessarily meeting the STARS or EOCs, but looking at specifically the student needs or the student's requirements under their IEP. We can go back, Christina. And finally, the Texas Transition. This is a great resource from the service region 11, I'm sorry. And then on this page, you're gonna have some information about transition, but then you click on that link that Christina is showing us, Transition in Texas, and then you will have plenty of information about transition in general, what to do, what are the graduation options, the employment guides, plenty of resources for parents and also for the staff and educators to browse and to learn more about how to assist the students with autism or pervasive developmental disorders that should be using or should be receiving the benefits of the strategy number 5, future planning. We can go back, Christina. And finally, the future planning, you can look back to what the IDEA, the federal law, states in regards to transition. And then I just wanted to say 2 things. First one is the IEPs for those students who are 14 and up that are going through the transition planning. These IEPs must show post-secondary goals and the transition services, which if you want to know which ones are those or which ones are the ones that should encompass the planning, then you can go back to the links that I just showed you, and then you see, okay, do my child needs vocational assessment or vocational training or employment or practice or have access to volunteering or have access to mentorship, so my child can go and actually see actually practice in the work or the field that he or she is interested in, and see if he really likes it, or maybe to develop social skills at work. Anything that your child needs that it's established as a need for the transition services in the post-secondary goal should be included in the IEP. And then since September 1st, 2018, the Commissioner rules they require that the transition planning consider two areas that are extremely important: the training, the opportunities, and the training into decision-making skills. You know, we would like for children more than anything else just to be happy, but also to be fully independent. Maybe they are not going to be fully 100% independent, but if we start training them early on, surely they will make progress enough to be independent, to take decisions about their lives on their own. And then the second one will be self-determination. There's, I feel that these two particular skills requires, we cannot arrive, in other words, I cannot arrive to the age of 14, 16, or maybe when we're graduating age 18 or 21 to teach this. We had to start teaching this particular set of skills since our kids are in PPCD. And you will think that, how come, how do we do that? Well, the way we do it as parents is that we go back and say, where do I want my kid to be, or what I wish right now for him to be doing when he graduates. And we go back and say, what do we need for them to be able to arrive to that point? And then you'll notice that decision-making skills, for them to be able to decide what to do with their lives, what they really would like to dedicate time or to be happy with, it involves to having skills for them to be able to make decisions on their own. And then the self-determination, be able for them to defend themselves and be able for them to let others know what is good for them, what is appropriate for them, and what they are going to do about it. In the case of those individuals with autism or pervasive developmental disorders that are not capable of doing so completely on their own, Texas is the pioneers of the support decision-making process. And we're going to click on the link, and we're going to show you the video, or an event that we have with Disability Right Texas, in which the decision-making process was explained. And I really invite you to take a look at that. The video for this presentation that was done a month ago or now, if I'm not mistaken, is posted already in a Facebook page under videos. So you can go ahead and look for that one. And it has tremendous information, and it's very to the point as to what support decision-making means and what is a support decision-making agreement. Next. And finally, websites to keep in mind in regards to all the strategies that we talked about today. The Texas Autism Supplement guidance. It will tell you exactly what, well, it will give you some information about what these strategies are, the 11 strategies, and what each of these means. Then the guidance for the model of the individualized education program. You will find in there several documents that will show you the Autism Supplement at the very end. And then the Texas Statewide Leadership for Autism from Region 13 have many resources for educators and staff and parents. The Texas Legal Framework that we showed you at the very beginning, in which you will find the law, and the Texas Administrative Code, in which the autism rules are written, and then autism fact sheets from our website. I think that's going to be very helpful. Finally, our Texas Autism Supplement Facebook series for tomorrow, Wednesday, is going to cover strategies 3, which is the in-home and community-based training, strategy 6, which is the parent, family, and training and support, strategy 10, the professional educators and staff support, and strategy 11, teaching strategies. If you want to visit our statewide webinars, please go ahead and click that link, and it will take you to our past webinars and our present webinars or upcoming webinars. Please join us on our Facebook page. We have several of our videos already uploaded from past webinars and upcoming webinars from this series. The next 3 days, we're going to be still covering the Autism Supplement strategies and other topics for the following weeks. Thank you very much. My information is on the screen, and as well as my email address and our phone number if you have any questions. Again, you can also post your comments on our comment box